Hello folks, my name is Cory and welcome to Cory's Neglect-to-Video Classics, where I'm going to be looking at movies that either went direct-to-video, direct-to-DVD, direct-to-Blu-ray, or modern-day direct-to-streaming. I thought for the first episode of this I should probably go with the first direct-to-video movie I've ever seen, or at least to my knowledge I've ever seen. I'm going to go with the sequel to a very good movie called From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn is probably best known as one of Robert Rodriguez's best movies. It was written by Quentin Tarantino, also stars him in a short role. Sorry, tossing the DVD on my bed. Uh, Again, this movie is probably best known for its insane mid-plot twist, where it goes from a crime abduction movie to a bloody, gory vampire movie. It fucking rules. All the characters in it are really good, especially George Clooney and Harvey Keitel. George Clooney plays a badass character. Uh, I think this was like before ER, or like before he was like famous or whatever. Uh, but Harvey Keitel plays a very complex character, a man or a former pastor who's struggling with his fate after losing his wife. Both awesome characters. I love this movie. Unfortunately, I'm going to be reviewing this movie's direct-to-video sequel, which is fucking terrible. Alright, now before I start shitting on this movie, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to point out a couple positive things. This movie was directed and co-written by Scott Spiegel. Scott Spiegel is the co-writer of one of the best 80s horror movies of all time, The Evil Dead 2. He also co-wrote and directed a movie that me and Chris did over on Talkin' Schlock called fucking The Intruder. Sorry. The Intruder? Did I just call it the fucking Intruder? Intruder, that's what it's called. Sorry, I apologize. Intruder is not necessarily a good movie, but it's entertaining because of its cheesy, hammy performances and its over-the-top gore. Unfortunately, this is where Spiegel, you know, this is where he peaked, unfortunately. Uh, I do like his work, but holy shit, man, he dropped the ball on this one. Um, I feel so bad shitting on this guy. He went on, this is kind of where his career kind of like spiked. So he, a bunch of years later, went on to direct Hostel 3, which also went direct to video. And the less said about that movie, the better, because that movie is fucking atrocious. Alright, but also I need to point out this movie has a great cast of character actors. It really does. Shit, sorry. If I can find the fucking list of them. Oh, fuck me. Sorry, Mark. Fuck did I put it? Again, though, this movie does have a very good cast of character actors. Like, really good. Robert Patrick, who's best known as a T-1000, probably more recently known for Peacemaker, which is kind of weird because he has the exact same accent in this movie that he has in Peacemaker, the same like southern accent, so I kept kind of expecting him to go into some kind of racial tirade. Also the late legendary Bo Hopkins, who's like best known for Midnight Express, American Graffiti, Wild Bunch, holy shit. Like the guy's had like a legendary career. And I'd say in this movie, they're the two best actors. Everybody else does like a decent job, but they're barely given anything to work with. It's kind of like a barely there kind of movie. But you also have Raymond Cruz, who's probably best known for Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, as playing Tuco. In this one, he's basically Frankenstein's monster in terms of delivery. Everything he says is, "I don't do that. I don't." It's not that he's bad. It's just like that's his choice with this. We also have Moose Watson, who's probably best known for playing the killer from the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, not a bad movie, but it's probably what he's best known for. Um, it's not like a bad assembly of characters. There's also a couple of brief roles from the legendary Bruce Campbell and Danny Trejo, who's reprising his role from the first movie, even though he got killed in the first movie. Um, I don't know, maybe he's playing like his twin brother or something. I don't know. It's fucking weird. But again, the cast in this movie, as much as I'm gonna shit on it, is good. Like, that's the best way I can put it. So, to give you a little backstory into this, the original From Dusk Till Dawn cost $19 million to make, and it ended up making $59 million at the box office. While that is considered a success, it really found its audience on home video. So, it really kind of was a smart idea for them to release its sequel, direct to video. And again, this was not a cheap movie to make. It was made for $5 million. Now, $5 million in 1999 is fucking huge. Adjusted for inflation, that would be well over $9 million now. Now, to give you a comparison, Get Out was made for $4.5 million just 5 years ago. Uh, Halloween 2018 was made for $10 million. Just 1 year ago, two of not only the best movies of the year, but two of the best genre movies in a long time, X and Pearl, were both made for $1 million apiece. Hell, if you added a couple $1,000,000 to the budget, you could have made Megan. I shit you not, you could have made Megan with this budget. It does not show. It does not show at all. So where exactly did this movie go wrong? Especially with its talented cast, its experienced director? I'm going to dive into it. Alright, so as I mentioned before, this is one of the first direct-to-video horror movies I've ever seen. And I have vivid memories of my mother renting this for me and my younger sisters when I was a little kid. Why was a mother letting her small children watch From Dusk Till Dawn or its direct-to-video sequel? Because my mom fucking ruled, that's why. But I also remember the video store clerk specifically telling us that this was a bad movie. He even said, he's like, yeah, I was a fan of the original, but this one sucks. So, yes, in retrospect, we should have listened to him. Alright, so this movie starts off with a fake-out movie within a movie. In this fake-out movie within a movie, we're introduced to Bruce Campbell and Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Tiffany Amber Thiessen is probably best known for Beverly Hills 90210. Personally, I was too young to care about that show, but I do remember her from Basketball, which, I don't care what Trey Parker and Matt Stone say, I still love Basketball. Anyways, in this fake-out movie within a movie, they play two lawyers getting onto an elevator who are discussing a client that they're currently defending. She has a line that says, "We both know that son of a bitch killed 14 people." It's like, who the fuck are you defending? Richard Ramirez? Anyways, it doesn't matter because soon a corpse of a janitor comes flying out of the ceiling of the elevator, and then it stalls. Bruce Campbell, being the hero that he is, goes to investigate, and he's instantly killed by the apex predator of all elevator shafts, which of course is CGI bats. Now, the CGI bats then swarm the elevator. They attack Miss Amber Thiessen. It's actually a really fucked up shot of one of them going up her skirt. Jesus Christ. And anyway, that's the end of the fake-out movie of the beginning. The camera pans out, and we're introduced to our actual lead character of the movie, Bucky, played by Robert Patrick, who's watching the movie on an illegal black box. For those who don't know, a black box was something you used to steal cable with back in the day. Remember when people actually gave a shit about cable enough to steal it? Yeah, those were the good old days. Anyways, he ends up getting the black box to work again, but this time it's focused on a news story that's happening. After he gets his black box to work, we immediately cut to a news program about an escaped convict named Luther. Now, it turns out that Bucky is a semi-reformed ex-convict who used to perform bank heists with Luther. And since Luther is the subject of a statewide manhunt, the police immediately kick in his door, led by Sheriff Otis, played by Bo Hopkins. And his method of interrogation is grabbing Bucky by his testicles and squeezing them. Probably not legal, but hey, I mean, effective. something. Anyways, Bucky is able to convince him that he has no idea where Luther is. As soon as they leave, he receives a phone call from a payphone by Luther, who is now on the lam. Turns out he has another heist in Mexico, which is right over the border. It takes place in southern Texas. And he tells him to assemble a crew. Now, Luther himself is played by Dwayne Whitaker, who also co-wrote this movie. He's also kind of a noted character actor, just like everybody else in this movie. He's been in movies like Feast, Tales from the Hood, but he's probably best known for Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. He plays one of the guys that, does the thing to Ving Rhames that I probably can't say here on YouTube. I'm just saying, if you're ever chasing down Bruce Willis, never follow him into this guy's pawn shop. Anyways, sorry about that, Mark. Anyways, just one question though. How the fuck did Dwayne Whitaker make it across the border if his character is like the most wanted fugitive in all of Texas? It's never really explained. One of the best parts of the first act of the first From Dusk Till Dawn movie is how the Gecko brothers get across the border. It's actually like a really well done scene. They never explain how the fuck he just managed to, just go across the border unscathed, especially in like a topless Jeep that he's driving. Anyways, he's driving his Jeep along the road and something flies into the engine. He opens up the hood, turns out it's a vampire bat. If you want to know how convincing the vampire bat is in this movie, it's about as convincing as this fucking Street Shark puppet. Now, he ends up walking to the titty twister from the first movie. And to give you some sense of my frustration with this movie, I love the titty twister in the first movie. I think it's an awesome set piece. It's right up there with Roadhouse in terms of bar settings. Really, as you're introduced to the titty twister in the original From Dusk Till Dawn, it's like you're entering the gates of hell. Holy shit, even if this place wasn't occupied by vampires, you'd still be risking your life by going in there. There's pyro going up, there's a bunch of rowdy bikers and shit. There's Cheech Marin giving a speech about the different varieties of pussy that are in said establishment. There's no... It's so fucking insane. And in this movie, holy shit. Jesus Christ. Dwayne Whitaker's character enters this place, and it's like he's entering a fucking T-Mobile. I shit you not. It is so bad. When he enters inside, to give you a comparison, it seemed like there were, hundreds of rowdy patrons in the first in the first From Dusk Till Dawn. And in this one, it seems like there's 8 people there. And he walks in, he's like, oh, this is my kind of place. It's what the fuck? Are they transitioning into a Tim Hortons? What the fuck what happened to the titty twister? What happened to, the liveliness of it? What happened to the fucking, brilliant set piece that, the entire last half of the first movie took place in? What the fuck? Yeah, it's that bad. Anyways, he runs into Danny Trejo at the bar, Danny Trejo is the bartender, I should probably say that. And again, I know Danny Trejo technically died in the first one. I think this might be, his twin brother, his descent, something, I don't know. It's good to see him in this movie, though, because it's always good to see Danny Trejo in a movie. He goes up to the bar and tells him what happened. He says, my car broke down and I need a ride. And Danny Trejo, a very nice guy, says, hey, man, I'll give you a lift. He ends up driving him down the road. And Dwayne Whitaker mentions, he's like, yeah, dude, my car, I hit a fucking, big-ass bat and shot it. And that immediately, alerts Danny Trejo to be like, you just say you shot a bat? And he, immediately seems to know that he's talking about one of his vampire friends. Anyways, Danny Trejo pulls to the side of the road, wanders out into the desert calling somebody's name, while Dwayne Whitaker is standing there being like, what the fuck are you doing? As anybody would. Danny Trejo comes back holding a guy who obviously is a vampire, obviously the vampire bat. The guy that he's holding on to pulls the bullet out of his chest. He's like, I think this belongs to you. And very silly, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. Uh, Dwayne Whitaker runs back into his car, tries to get away. Uh, I think it's the other guy who like smashes through the window, ends up turning him into a vampire by biting him. Kind of a cool camera effect, where it's shot from inside the vampire's mouth, biting onto him. The only problem is they use that effect a lot in this movie, so it kind of overstays its welcome a little bit. So the rest of the gang ends up meeting in Mexico at their rendezvous point, which is just some random seedy hotel. They're hanging out in the hotel room, watching a porno together, and debating whether porno should have better story structure or have like an actual plot to them. Again, I think this is like an attempt at having that kind of Quentin Tarantino-esque kind of dialogue to it. It doesn't really work though. The character Tuco ends up telling a story about how a cousin of his sister, his cousin found out that his sister was filming a porn and ended up coming to the set and killing everybody with a shotgun. Again, they get into a fight. He shows them a cross on a hotel Bible. He escapes into the bathroom, barricades himself in, and there's actually a pretty cool shot in this where he's looking through the keyhole and then it cuts from the opposite perspective, and you see like the woman rising out of the bathtub. I thought that was actually pretty alright. I mean, credits to Scott Spiegel. Like some of his shots, especially like an Intruder, like they're not bad. Like they're actually kind of interesting. Again, though, he gets into a fight with her. Another kind of cool shot where he's struggling, and he looks in the mirror as he's like struggling with her. And he sees, like, there's nothing there, and then he, like, smashes her head into the mirror, and, like, there's, like, I don't know. It's really fucking stupid, but I thought it was kind of cool. Anyways, he ends up escaping out a window, and just like the drummer from Green Room, he ends up, like, getting killed, or turned into a vampire, the second he gets out of the fucking window. So now, when they go back into the hotel room with the rest of the bank robbers, we now know that Dwayne Whitaker and Tuco are both... Let's call them fucking Tuco again. We now know that Dwayne Whitaker and Jesus are both vampires, and nobody else is aware to this. Now, I'm gonna oversimplify the rest of the plot of this movie, because it's kind of fucking stupid. They insist, or Dwayne Whitaker's character Luther insists that they need to need to do this heist tonight. So they all go along with it. They all go in, and one by one, they're all turned into vampires. And also, Sheriff Otis from the beginning, Bo Hopkins, just happens to know which bank they're robbing in another country, technically. I don't know. It gets pretty fucking stupid. This movie has a very lame ending. One of the best things you can say about the original From Dusk Till Dawn is that the last half is fucking balls to the wall insane. The last half to this is just lifeless. It's really fucking dull and boring. You don't give a shit when people are turned into vampires. You do... I'll give it this much. I do like Robert Patrick. As, like, because he does kind of, like, notice as everybody's kind of turning, he knows something's up. Again, he ends up siding with the police and Sheriff Bo Hopkins. Again, you can tell I'm just disappointed by this fucking movie. I knew it was bad back then, and just rewatching it now, it's like, oh man. It has not aged well at all. And again, like, if you like this video, then honestly, just, like and subscribe. Mark does, like, 99.9% of the work for us on this channel. So, watch the Film Section podcast, watch the DCOM debate. Maybe someday me and Chris will do another, Talk and Schlock connection. Either way, like, just, if you like this shit, then so do we. So, and we like people like you. So, I've been Cory, good shit.